Okay, we're back. This has been super fun, Monica. We've been brainstorming like what else should we be looking at for future growth, and I love all the ideas we've been talking about. You've added a lot of ideas. I've thrown some in the mix. We've explored some. We've been honest about which ones we don't know about. We talked about interactive music. What's that going to look like? I don't even know if anybody cares to remix tracks at scale, like whether everybody wants to do it, unless they can put it on their Instagram stories and their TikTok videos, then they
Yeah.
might want to, but, or they can personalize it somehow. My vision, actually, this ties into AI. My vision is that if a Taylor Swift or a BTS or somebody said, I've got the basis of my next song, but I want to see 1,000 versions and come up 1,000 fan collaborative versions where you can use online tools. You don't even have to call them AI tools. Use online tools to help me come up with the bridge or change the lyrics. Or for a certain price, you can buy the song, and on the special Taylor Swift player, you can play your version of the song to your friends, like at a party in real life or
Hmm.
something like that. That might be the interactive side. Look, we had an episode where we talked about this before, and I know your opinions about, but is generative AI a growth path? Is it going to destroy the music industry, or is this a growth path for music?
Every new technology, everybody's like doom and gloom. It's going to the end, beta cassettes, the end of movies. Like it's always like that. I think, great writers and great artists are always going to have a job, and they will rise to the top. But um, I do think it will probably kick out a lot of DIY people who don't sound that different than the Gen AI.
Mm,
Um, but they're not making money, most of them anyway. Like, they all go in with pie in the sky ideas, but they have no idea how to manage a career, and why would they know? Like,
mm.
they're just playing with music. They don't know how to monetize it. They don't know how to register it. They don't know any of those things. But the market, I think the opportunity for AI for established writers and artists will be good if we get the licensing right.
Yeah.
And right now, on the publishing side, I mean, I'm sure master side too, is, we've been trying to find an attribution engine that we all feel comfortable with and that we believe will work. And that is a much harder,
Task.
there's not a lot of them. The technology is sort of all over the place. Everybody's ideas about them is all over the place. Um, Surreal was just bought by Warner. I mean, there's a lot of movement. So,
Yeah.
um, we're testing now, and we're going to be testing, and it will sort itself out, but it's not an easy thing to resolve. If we can do that, if we can get an attribution engine that we can, mostly rely on, then every output will have payments to existing songwriters and artists and producers, and it's a matter of, like, we have to decide, well, how long is that tail going to be on the songs that influence it. I think it needs to be a much shorter list, like not more than like 5
Yeah.
songs or masters, but we're not having that discussion yet.
I think that's Monica. I think that's key, and that was something I heard in the lobby of the music business conference this past year.
Mhm.
Was this idea of it? We just assume, oh, it's going to be impossible. Attribution is going to be impossible because once thousands of songs are made with thousands of songs, which are made with thousands of songs, it'll be so hard to track. Maybe blockchain can do it, blah, blah, blah. But ultimately, it doesn't matter whether it's technology power. It's more just like the payouts don't make sense at a certain point.
Yeah,
So
they don't
that
make sense.
limiting to say, sure, maybe the model's been trained on music as a whole, but this song has really been based off of these 3 songs. You said 5. I'm saying like two to 3 songs. Then you get really clear about, like, I was influenced by this because it's really a style.
But
Sometimes
it
it's a song,
depends
but
on what it is, because, like, we just saw a demo for one of these companies, and, like, all the biggest influence was like 0.03, and it went down from there.
yeah,
So that, but it was also the sample that they had. I, that's why we need to tell. We need to see, like, what happens when you get these
yeah.
outputs. What do they really look like? And then we can sort of do the math. But is it fair to do the top 5 songs, or is it fair to do the top 60% of the song? I don't know, because we don't know enough about, like, how it looks.
Well, and
But
maybe it should be a little bit of both. Maybe you say, hey, there's a little bit of a kind of blank cassette license on an AI song that goes into the industry as a whole, and then there's a lot that also goes to what influenced those particular songs. I
well,
mean,
no, I wouldn't take away from the writers and artists that are
no, but
that are actually doing the influencing. You know, there's going to be
no,
millions of outputs,
but
and
they've been
most of them aren't going to make money. Like
yeah,
it's cumulative. You know,
yeah. Do you think the licenses will be both licensing the training data for the output, but then also
for the
royalties
input.
paid out for the input? I'm sorry, for the input. But then for the songs that get outputted, but then will the original songwriters and the original master recording rights holders get something on the royalties if those songs get released in the public?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
that, there has to be attribution for the songs that actually influence that output. And
No, I
because
understand, but
they're all derivative works.
I'm
Like
asking you something more specific though.
what?
I'm a songwriter. Let's say I'm a songwriter. Can I get paid for training it so that a customer can make their own song and listen to it at home? I'd like to get paid for that. Right? They made this new song that used, and 10% of that song was based on my song.
Right.
Now that customer who outputted that song, they go and they release it on Spotify and they make $1 million. Can I also please get paid on the royalties from that?
Yes, that's why the information of what those songs are and the proportion of their influence. So like one song could have a 20% influence and that has to be prorated over the 20%. But another song could have 10% and that song needs to be prorated over 10 regardless of how many people wrote and published that song. So
Right.
it gets very complicated when you see that most hip hop songs and pop songs usually have like 5 to 7 writers and 14 to 16 publishers.
Yeah.
If you're saying you're going to have 5 different songs that fit,
It's
it's very
exponential.
complicated. So
Yeah.
we need to have a very good system for attaching that information so that when it's used
Yeah.
in third-party licensing, those people get paid.
Yeah.